Good morning, everyone. We're going to be talking about working with buyer leads today. These are going to be kind of different sources that we have for what we would call a warm buyer lead, right? So this is someone who's clicked through on a website, who's called a phone number. They are actively looking for real estate. So this is very different than working with, cold calls, kind of cold recruiting and things like that, because these are people who are actively in the process of looking at real estate. And again, they may not be someone who wants to buy today or tomorrow, but they've clicked on something, they're kind of requesting information and things like that. And so what we found is that if you take these steps exactly the way that I'm going over them, right? This is not anywhere that you want to start kind of playing around with it, trying something else until you can convert. So if you tell me, hey, I've taken out 5 people, I've converted 2 of them using what you said, I want to change it a little bit and see if I can get better, that's one thing, right? But at the beginning, you really want to focus on doing these steps exactly as I say in this order, because this is the best way that we found to get you to convert people and to get people who are clicking around on a bunch of websites to work with you. So give it a chance, try it out. This works. I can promise you, again, we have an agent. He did exactly this. He had only worked with renters before. He took out his first sale client. He did this. He did the buyer consultation. He converted them. He's in contract, right? First sale in his history and the first client he ever took out for sale. So it can happen. Okay, so the first thing that you need to do is you have to pick up the phone, right? And so you need to make sure that you are on the different lead sources that we have and that you're able to respond to them, right? If you're on the Weichert lead network and you want to get those calls, if the lead network calls you, you have to answer. So you need to make the time for that. If you're on Opcity, you have to click on the button quickly. And again, we'll go over these lead sources towards the end. But you need to answer the phone. You need to get in front of people, right? And some of this is also, similar to what we would do with the lead network, right? If you're not making the calls, if you're not doing it, you can't get the lead. So you always want to be extremely friendly and smile, right? They can kind of tell if you're not smiling when you're on the phone. There you go, Harvey, nice smile. And what you say is, thanks so much for calling. I'm excited to help you with your home search, right? Usually there's going to be an operator that's going to connect you. Opcity, they call you, they say, hey, I've got Joe on the line. He's looking for X budget in whatever neighborhood. Maybe it's one that I give to you and you don't know where they're looking and it's whatever, but just call them and excited, right? Because this is someone that you can potentially be working with. The next thing that you want to do is, right, and they might be calling on something that you have no clue what it is, where it is, anything like that. Don't worry about that. We can solve that, right? You don't need to check in with the listing agent. You don't need to get all the details. They might have some questions. You could say, you know what? I'm actually on the street. You know what? I'm not in front of my computer. I'll get you all that information back. What you want to do is say, it's a great apartment or building. When would you like to see it? Or if it's for a neighborhood, great neighborhood. When do you want to go out and check out some properties, right? Sometimes they're going to say, I want to talk to you. I want to see it at 3 o'clock this afternoon. The answer is, even if you can go at 3, it's very hard to set up an appointment, right? Most places need 24-hour notice. Most places in New York are occupied. I can definitely try, but how about tomorrow at 3 or Saturday at 6, right? And give them times that work for you. It doesn't matter at all, right? It does not matter at all if it can't be shown then, right? Because all you want to do is get them to agree to meet with you and to agree that you're going to be able to show them something. So set up a time with them and get that confirmed, right? It doesn't matter if it's off the market, or it does matter. You want to show it to them, but it doesn't matter because you're just going to start that conversation. Hey, I checked in with the owner's agent, right? It's unfortunately not available, but I came up with other things that will work for you, right? So confirming the time of the appointment gets them off the phone, right? Opcity, Weichert Lead Network are recorded calls. It gets you off that recording, so you don't have to worry about someone listening to what you're saying and telling you, oh, you're doing it wrong and stuff like that. But what it does is it allows you to get the time to get all the information together so you can appear as an expert on that property and give them all the information that they need, right? So again, get off the phone. I'm going to confirm the appointment with the seller's agent and I'll be back in touch shortly. Can I call you within the hour? Is that good for you? Can I call you? Is there a better time for me to call you tonight just to go over some things? Great, 5 o'clock, perfect, boom. Set up the time with them. The next thing you want to do is call them. Don't email, call the listing agent to try to set up that showing, whatever time that you would agree to with them, right? And confirm all the details, any terms, any offers they have, get whatever you can, ask about the maintenance, the flip tax, the property taxes, all that stuff, right? They might say, oh, it's on the MLS. Say, okay, no problem, I'll check it out. For a co-op, ask about the sublet policy, the flip tax. If the listing is not in OLR, right, you want to confirm that they will co-broke with you because everything in OLR will have the percentage that's being paid, but sometimes brokers, and again, you might get a listing in Queens, you might get a listing in Staten Island, you might get one in the Bronx that you're going to be showing. You want to confirm. Some people are not REBNY members, they're not LIBOR members, and you have to figure out what they're going to offer you, right? Because you don't want to run around with this client, have them fall in love with something, and then not get paid on it, because that makes an awkward situation for you. So you confirm with the listing agent in writing what Weichert's being paid for bringing the buyer. Then what you can do is call back the lead and confirm, yep, hey, I set up the appointment for 6 o'clock on Saturday. Great, aren't you excited? Or you say, unfortunately, the seller's only allowing showings between X and Y time. Would that work for you? Okay, that works, great. And then you can go over it. What you want to do also is see if they can get coffee afterwards or before you see that apartment to discuss the home search, right? And we're going to talk about the buyer consultation and how powerful of a tool it is. But you want to get a couple minutes, right? I have never in my career had someone who wouldn't meet with me for 15 to 20 minutes either before or after, right? There's no reason not to. I just want to go over the home buying process in New York with you and what it's like to buy a co-op. I want to go over the process of buying in Queens and what it's like to buy a multifamily here. And that's great, right? So then what you can do is you can go into OLR and send them the listing. So they have all the details on that, which is a great way to make sure they have the information correct. And if it's not on there, right? If it's a listing from somewhere else, send it through the other MLS if you can, or if you can't find it anywhere else, try Weichert.com. Oftentimes we can send them a listing. At least the listing is going to have your company's name on it, right? Rather than cutting and pasting it from Street Easy or something like that, right? My thing is I never want to send listings through Street Easy to someone because it will have all this information about other brokers and things like that. Same thing with Zillow, same thing with Realtor.com. So if you, again, worst case, just send them a couple pictures of it, right? That you copied and pasted offline. The next thing you want to do is you want to set up the search for the client, right? So add them as a client into your My Weichert portal. Again, if it's a lead network client, it's automatically going to go in there. You also want to add them onto OLR, our backend database, or LIBOR, again, depending on which MLS that you're looking in, or maybe it's both of them. And try to find a few other options and go over it with them, right? When I'm on that when I'm on that second conversation with them and confirm the appointment, I always say, I work primarily as a buyer's broker, right? I want to help you find your next home. And I want to save you time and money in that process. One of the things that I do that by is by showing you some other options that might be great values. The greatest thing is that, and again, you go over this during the buyer consultation, is that you don't pay me anything for my services, right? I'm paid by the seller at closing. And most people don't know that, right? People in New York are used to paying a broker fee when they retain a broker. And that's not the case 99% of the time when you're working with a buyer. And for me, that's one of the reasons I love working with buyers, right? They're not paying me anything and I get to go out with them and see properties. So, and again, you can let them know that anything they see online to let you know, because you can look into it for them, right? You can do the back end work, you can do the due diligence to make sure that it's an actual property that exists, that it's a good value, it's not a foreclosure, for certain things that might not work for them. So again, at the showing, right? You get there, you confirm with them. My biggest thing, and I always do this, I over confirm, because especially if you're going out of your way, you don't want someone not to show up, right? So if you're meeting a client, on Saturday at 6, I confirm Friday and I confirm, Saturday afternoon, because you want to make sure with both the client and the agent, you're going to get in, they're going to be there, everything is good to go, right? I don't want to drive an hour and not have someone show up. So I over confirm. Some people are like, yes, I confirmed with you yesterday. I'd rather them say that than, oh, shoot, I forgot. I'm so sorry. With your client, you want to be, again, friendly, ask questions and build rapport. Again, once you've kind of you're with them, if there's another broker there, you don't have to do it on the spot, but, confirm their mortgage pre-approval, right? I don't do that before I take someone out, because for me, if I'm getting into a relationship with someone, it's a little off-putting to say, are you pre-approved on the first call that you have with them before meeting them? And a lot of times people say, oh yeah, I'm pre-approved, because they don't even know what pre-approval means, just to feel like they're actually saying the right thing. So I wait until I meet them in person. Oh, I just want to ask you, who are you using for your mortgage? Do you have a pre-approval letter? And is it for a co-op, if that's what you're looking at? Is it for a multifamily, if that's what you're looking for? And if they say no, say not a problem. I would love to introduce you to our mortgage specialist, Doug. He actually can give you a no obligation quote to let you know what your purchasing power is. I'm going to have him give you a call when is a good time for him to call you tomorrow, right? And doing it that way and giving Doug your client's information means that Doug is going to follow up with them, right? How many times has someone said, "Oh, I'm going to call you," and they don't call you, right? Well, Doug will continue to call them, and not to harass them or anything like that, but it will mean that there is going to be follow up there. And again, I always do the Amazon script when I'm with them, or at, and I talk about the buyer consult, which again we'll get into. You tell them, I work as a real estate agent. My job is to save you time and money. You have everything you need all under one roof with Weichert. I'm here to help you find the property. We have Doug to help you make sure you can afford the property, and we have Jamie who can help you insure the property. I also work with a team of real estate specialists, real estate attorneys, I apologize, who can help you to go through the due diligence process. If you need it, we have inspectors that we can recommend. We have contractors. We have all these different services. You can get it all through me. So when you're with them, again, always make sure you do the buyer consult, which we'll get to in a second, and always make the next appointment to meet with them, right? This was great. So nice meeting you. When are you next available to see places? Because I want to know if I see something great, when to set up the appointment. And I've never had anyone not tell me when they can next go out, right? Maybe they don't get back to me, which is totally fine, but at least you have that potential, right? You're putting it in their mind that you're ready to kind of take them out and to see the next thing. What you want to do is you want to also follow up the next day, right? And you want to make sure that you're just getting some feedback from them, right? Some people will give feedback that day. Some people want it the next thing. So again, I try to do it in person. I say, hey, let's go grab a coffee, and I do the buyer consultation with them, right? And this builds the relationship with your clients. This helps you to explain what is the process of buying a home in New York City, right? Because many people who move to New York have either rented here for a long time, or they're moving from out of state. Maybe they owned in California or Florida or Texas or Pennsylvania, but not in New York. And it's a very different process here than in any other state. Our requirement, right, for any lead that we give you, so if it's from me, if it's from Weichert, if it's from Street Easy and stuff like that, you must have the buyer consultation done within 1 week of getting the lead. And again, it can be virtually, right? You can do it over Zoom. And you have to have the Fair Housing Agency disclosure form signed as well, right? That proves to us that you've done this, that you've gone over them, you've gotten into a relationship with them, right? It's not worth these leads because these leads are valuable, right? We convert these leads at a pretty reasonable rate. And it's not worth giving it to someone who's not going to use the tools that we have to convert them. And that's not following this step-by-step process, right? So if you say to me, I don't want to do the buyer consultation, that's totally fine, right? But it's going to be harder for you to convert. And I'm not going to give you leads that I could give to someone who will do the buyer consultation, who is more likely to convert it, right? So that's it, right? It's your choice, but this process works. I promise you. Again, we've used this for 6 years since I've been with Weichert, and it works. It works very well. We have a great turnover in terms of conversion. So again, what happens at you do the buyer consultation, you meet with them, great. You get into this relationship. What happens next? So the most important things are staying in contact with each of these clients. Whenever I send an email, and oftentimes when we're working with someone, we have the tendency to just want to send them everything that's on the market, right? Just like send them all out. Resist that urge, because what you can do with these emails, and when you're sending them through OLR or through LIBOR or through wherever it is, you can target them and kind of group them together, right? So maybe you do have 15 listings you want to show them, but maybe 5 are in Chelsea, 5 are in Tribeca, and 5 are in the West Village. And so split them up. Instead of sending one email with 15, here are all the options available, you send one email saying, hey Joe, I just want to send 5 options that are available in the West Village. I think these are great because you can walk to your Pilates studio. Here are 5, and again, here are 5 in Chelsea. These all have really big kitchens, which I know you mentioned were as important to you, right? Everything that you do, when you do that, it really shows that you've listened to them, right? And that you're taking their feedback and you're being a resource. You're not just saying, here's what's on the market, here's what's on the market, here's what's on the market. You're saying, hey, this is what you said you wanted. You wanted outdoor space. These 4 have outdoor space. Fortunately, there's not that many, but you want to follow up with these people every other day at least. Again, I try sometimes to stay on top of people every day or so. If I have an active client that you're actively looking for properties with, that they're looking to move, especially a rental client, just say, hey, nothing new came on the market today. I'm thinking about you. Hope you have a great day. That's it, right? It can be a short, quick text, email, call, whatever it is. Send them new options and why you like them. Nothing new, but I've been looking. Ask them, have you seen anything online? When are you able to go out next? I just want to have it in mind. Hey, I know you're on vacation for a week. What are you doing this weekend? Are you able to go out? I'd love to take you out on Saturday. You always want to stay in touch, stay a resource to them, and kind of like stay on top of them, right? So you want to make sure that you're kind of actively following up with these people. For some of the lead sources, OpCity and White Lead Network, you're gonna have to update the portal every week. I say do it every couple days, right? If I start getting that email from OpCity or from Lead Network saying you have stale leads, you're not going to be able to stay on the system, right? And again, this is all because staying on top of this helps you convert them, right? So again, the other thing that we have to remember is you have to give it time, right? You can't think I'm going to get a lead, they're going to close tomorrow, right? It does happen, and the agent I mentioned before, he went out, he showed one apartment, they put an offer in it, they're in contract, right? That's all. One contract, one apartment showing, that's it, and they're in contract. So, but most people aren't like that, right? Most buyers take 4 to 6 months to find their home. We have to be in this for the long haul, and it's about building the relationship. And what can happen, right, is that you can have someone who looks and then decide, hey, I'm not going to buy this year, right? And that can be hard because we put in time and we're not getting paid for that time. We don't feel like we're getting paid for that time. The worst thing you can do is get mad at them, right? The best thing that you can do is you could say, hey, not a problem. Let's stay in touch. I'm going to follow up with you every couple of months. Give me your address. I want to stay in touch with you. If you have any friends or family looking to buy or sell anything, please put them in touch with me, right? Because I want to help them. You know how I work. The other thing that you can ask them to do is write you a Zillow review. Even though they haven't bought anything, they know how you work. And I've had this happen where they're like, you know what? They write even better reviews because they feel bad and they really want to help you in your business. So it's a great way to do it. So, and always show your value to your clients, right? Again, I'll say this over and over and over again. The only two things as brokers that we can really do are help people save time and money. And we do this as a buyer's agent at no cost to our clients, right? We're paid by the seller at closing, and our fiduciary responsibility is to the buyer that we're working with. And so that's a really great thing to tout and to remind them of, right? That you're doing all this work for them. You're saving them time and money. They find anything online, you're going to vet it for them. They have questions about stuff, you're going to answer it, right? And if you don't know the answer, you can ask me or you can ask one of the experienced agents. But you do need to remind people of this and what we're doing and why we're doing it. And again, I always like to take the pressure off when I'm working with someone. I say, I don't care if it takes you, a day, a week, a month, or even a year to buy your next home, right? When you close, I want to be the one that you recommend to all your friends and family, and you're so happy with what I did for you. So again, that's just something to kind of think about. Again, just as a reminder, before we kind of segue and go over the buyer consultation and how to kind of work through it, the lead network, and again, these are places where you can be on these for lead sources. White Lead Network and White Rental Network. It's a 37.5% referral and then a 50-50 split. We do get some Realtor.com leads, and it's a 25% referral and then your split. OpCity leads is a 35% referral, then your split. And again, one of the biggest things, and not enough people are doing this, right? Reach out to our agents in New Jersey and Pennsylvania. They might have people who are moving there from New York and they have places to rent or sell, or they know people who are here. So you never know. We get these kind of ebbs and flows of referrals from other Weichert offices, but it's a really great way to kind of build your business. And again, that's a split that you negotiate with them. Oftentimes it's 25%, for getting the lead. And again, don't forget, we can also give out leads to other Weichert agents and make a referral off that as well. So I am going to go into the buyer consultation now. Let's open this up. Find it. You guys can see this? Great. Okay, so let me just make it. Okay, So this is the Weicker buyer consultation. And again, you guys should have copies of this. Jason, I'll send it over to you. Um, this is what I think is one of the most effective ways of turning a lead into a client, right? In turning a warm lead, especially, or even a cold lead, into someone who's going to want to work with you. And so we're just going to go through this. Again, this is something that we can do a whole, segment on. We can go over each page in depth and whatnot. This is a customizable packet, which allows you to kind of go through your value and go over the home buying process and the market with a potential client. And what it allows us to do is to explain our service and what we do for our clients. So again, you know what I'll do? I'm just going to go through as if I was kind of dictating this to a client, just so you guys get a sense of it. Again, this is going to be recorded, so you can go back through. Let's pretend that we've got Harvey, who's looking for a 2-bedroom in Chelsea for $1 million, let's say. So again, thank you so much, Harvey, for sitting down with me and talking to me about the home buying process. Again, I find that I work with buyers a lot, and really one of the best things that we can do is just sit down and go over what the process is of buying in New York City, because it is different than other places. And hopefully you'll walk away with a better understanding of kind of how it goes here in New York. Again, we'll talk about the market, we'll talk about the actual process, what it's like to work with me, and then we'll get ready to go see some more houses. So again, I know you mentioned that you're moving into Chelsea because you're expecting a son, so congratulations on that. Are there any other reasons that you're looking to move? And again, you just kind of ask them about what those reasons could be. Again, I know that we've talked about this, but you mentioned that you want to be in a smaller building with less than 50 apartments. Have you thought about if you're looking for a co-op or condo, or kind of which of those that you're looking for? And again, people might be like, oh, can you explain the difference to me, right? And so the biggest thing here is that in a co-op and a condo, you for all intents and purposes own your unit. In a co-op, you're buying shares of a corporation that owns the building, and with those shares, you get the use of your unit, and you can renovate it, right? You can do things to your unit, no problem whatsoever. In a condo, you're buying the physical space and an undivided portion of the common elements, so like the roof, the floors, the elevator, and things like that of the building that your unit's in. But you have full ownership of that unit. Both buildings do usually allow subletting. It's just that how and for what duration subletting is allowed is usually the difference between the two. You will find that in a co-op, you will probably save about 25% than a condo unit in a similar situation. So those are kind of the biggest differences. And again, we can talk about that more. This is a great page to ask them, hey, do you have any pets? Again, we talked about elevator buildings, and you were okay with a second floor walk up. Just wanted to confirm that. But tell me about your dream house. Like, where would it be? What street would it be on, and things like that. And this is a way to build a relationship, right? A lot of this is to make sure that we're talking to the client and that we're able to ask them questions, because that, again, that makes it seem like we're having a successful conversation. Again, we're going to talk about the market, interest rates, inventory, and what's happening there. So again, one of the best things about you buying right now is that interest rates are at historic or near historic lows, right? I can't tell you a time, and I've been in the business for about 12 years, where interest rates were anywhere near as low as they are right now. And so it's really, really a great time, because you can borrow money at a very low cost, which is great. Also, as you've heard, prices are coming down a bit in New York. We're going to be careful about using that term generally, because in New York, every neighborhood and every kind of price point is a different market, right? We got to think of these almost like if you were buying in New Jersey, right? You could drive, 10 minutes away, and it's a very different market. The same thing here if you walk a block or two in either direction. So, but the good thing is prices are a little more flexible than they have been in a long time. And with rates so low, it's a great time to buy. So this next page, which again, I take out of my buyer consultation because it's not very effective in New York. But this talks about what's happening with the market, if it's a buyer's market, a seller's market. Again, right now in New York, in most price points, it's a buyer's market. In some price points, it is a seller's market, right? If you're looking in Queens at single or two family houses, it's a seller's market. Prices are going high and people are having bidding wars. If you're looking at co-op units on the Upper East Side, it's a buyer's market, right? There's tons of inventory out there. So be careful when you're talking about what's happening generally on the market, but This page, again, you can use it if you want to, and it talks about what's happening with home values, if they're going up or down. Again, one thing that's really important to look at is with interest rates the way they are right now, even if they went up 1 percentage point, which again, hopefully they won't for a little bit, but given what's happening with the economy, it looks like things are starting to rebound. With the vaccine and things like that. So it's not far off to say that it could increase. And look at what happens, right? That 1% interest rate costs you $334 a month, right? Who wouldn't want $334 more dollars in their pocket? And over the course of your 30-year loan, it's going to cost you $120,000. This 1 percentage point difference in interest. So again, compound interest over time costs you a lot of money. So it's a great time to buy now because interest rates are so low, and I don't see them going much lower. Again, I just want to let you know what's happening in the market, right? I'm not here to pressure you in any means. And again, this is where I usually say, I don't care if it takes you a day, a week, a month, or a year to buy something. I want to be there for you at the end. But I do want to let you know what's happening in the market, right? And you're looking at 2 bedrooms in Chelsea under $1 million, and there aren't that many on the market right now, right? And those that are on the market that are good sizes, good values, are going into contract within a week or two. And so again, not to put pressure on you, Harvey, but I wanted to let you know that we want to be ready and prepared. So if you do see something, you're like, we're ready to go and kind of take the next step. Again, I'm here through the whole process, right? From now, doing the buyer consultation through actually closing and getting the keys to your new home. I just like to kind of review what that process looks like with all my clients because it is different than other places. So again, I think we talked about it before. I know you said you were using Chase Bank, where you bank, for your pre-approval, which is not a problem. I would love to connect you with Doug Cleary, our mortgage specialist. He can always check to see if it's a good rate and see if he might be able to save you some money by using him. If it's okay with you, I'm going to share your information with him and he'll give you a call sometime this week. Again, we're going to see homes. When we find something that you love, right, we're going to put in an offer. And what happens in New York with offers are that offers are made in good faith, but they're not binding. And with every offer, we'll have to include some information, right? So if we want to put an offer on a property that you see, we'll need your pre-approval letter. We'll need a REBNY financial statement if it's a co-op, which we'll talk about later. And we'll just need, the terms that you have, like in terms of when you want to close, who your real estate attorney is. And oh, by the way, do you have a real estate attorney chosen? And usually they say, oh, no, I don't. Not a problem. I have a couple that I can recommend to you, and feel free to ask friends and family if they have someone that they trust. You just want to make sure that it is a New York-based real estate attorney, because they can definitely make or break deals, and I don't want you losing out on something because of an attorney recommendation ended up being a divorce attorney instead of a real estate attorney. So, again, there'll be some back and forth. Once we make an agreement and we come to an accepted offer, that's when the attorney will step in and they'll make sure to review all the documentation and make sure that you are making a sound decision, both financially and from a liability standpoint, right? If you want to have an inspection, we'll usually recommend that you do that before we come to an accepted offer, because once we do have an accepted offer, it's a little bit more difficult to change the terms of the offer. So, after the contract will be put together by the attorneys, you will sign the contract as the buyer and put down the contract deposit. Usually in New York, it's about 10%. The seller will then sign, and at that point, you're in contract, right? And it's up until that point, anything can happen, right? Someone can come with a higher offer. You could change your mind and walk away. It's not a problem. Again, what we do is we work kind of as efficiently as possible to get you from accepted offer to contract in a way that you feel comfortable with. After that, we'll go through the board process. And again, most co-ops and most condos have a board approval process. I've done many of them. Don't worry about it. I'll walk you through the steps. If it's a co-op, it's going to be a board package and an interview. If it's a condo, it's just going to be a board package. So basically a rubber stamp after that. We can also talk about home protection plans, going through all the closing things. We'll do a walkthrough the day before or the morning of the closing, just to make sure everything's out of there, all the seller stuff is out of there. And then we'll be there for you through the closing and getting you all the way to the end. So yeah, any questions about that process? And again, you give them time to ask you and to go through it. And again, if you're a newer agent and haven't done a sale, this is a great page to review, because this really does go through the steps of the home buying and selling process. Again, for condos and co-ops primarily, we can always take out the board approval one for if you're working on single family homes. Again, we have everything to do. Again, if you don't want to go out for a bit, we can do our showings virtually. We can do virtual open houses. We have different buyer events and things like that. We can do a neighborhood walkthrough for you if you don't want to leave the house. again, these days, most people are showing, but sometimes they're not. And so we do have a virtual toolbox that can help you to do every step of the way without even leaving your home if you'd like to. I'm here to negotiate. And again, I save you time and money. This is part of the way I can help save you money. I'll negotiate for you, help you come up with the best range of prices and help kind of guide you in the right direction based on comps and my experience and things like that. And we help you to agree on the price, the terms, and the closing date. Again, the nice thing about me is that I'm here to work for you, right? And I'm here to vet properties on your behalf to make sure that, again, if you see something online that seems too good to be true, 9 times out of 10 it is. The other times it's not, and great, we've got something we can jump on. But I'm here to help you with properties on Weichert.com, new constructions, for sale by owners, open houses, any other brokers listings and things like that. Again, we all work and collaborate together here. And so anything you see on StreetEasy, Realtor, Zillow, Trulia, I can help you get into. And again, make sure that it's actually a good property. Again, there are some ones that are too good to be true. There might be some restrictions in the building. It could be a land lease building, things like that. So I'm here to help you. Again, I'm here to explain the steps as they happen, to return your calls promptly, to act on you and connecting you to all services, to represent your point of view, and do everything I can to simplify the process for you. Again, I can also introduce you to Doug, our mortgage specialist, as I mentioned. He can help you in terms of getting you pre-approved. And again, if you are working with an OpCity lead, sometimes we can't recommend Doug because they have a mortgage lender. If you have questions about that, just let me know and I can confirm via the OpCity thing, unless they say, I don't like the person they gave me, do you have someone else? And then it's okay. Again, we're here through the whole process from figuring out your purchasing power to closing. We can recommend anyone along the way that you need. And so we're here to help you. And again, I'm part of the all under one roof team, which helps you again through mortgage, insurance, home protection and things like that, as well as movers, right? I can give you great movers that I've used myself. So really excited to go with you and check out some properties. I just have 2 forms that I need you to sign. And again, you kind of go over the disclosure and the agency disclosure form. So that's the buyer consultation, right? And again, as you can see, you'll have certain pages you want to take out. Again, I skipped over one because I don't like using that one. But this is all about customizing it to you and how you like to work with people. But at the beginning, at least use the ones that I did, because again, it's really a way to build a relationship. Practice with friends, family, loved ones, just to go over it. Hey, can you pretend you're buying something and give me some terms, just to talk about it, right? And it's about a conversation between you and the other person. And again, we'll do another workshop in a week or two. I'm just going over the buyer consultation kind of page by page. But for now, that's kind of it.
Hey, Jason.
Yep, Harvey.
Yeah, okay, so I'm taking out my first OpCity buyer this afternoon, 2:30. I really like this form here. Can you email me a copy of it?
Yeah, I'll send you another copy of it. I've sent it out a couple times, but I'll send you another one.
Okay, that's great. And another question. Is there anybody at Weichert who's, if you have a co-op customer, you could refer them to? Because I'm not really the total expert on co-ops. Actually, forget about that question. Another co-op question. When you go to look up co-ops, like in some of these services, is there anything that'll tell you what is truly a co-op versus a condo? Because I'm wasting a lot of time figuring out where the condos are in some neighborhoods.
Yeah, if you search the building in OLR, it will always say condo or co-op.
Oh, OLR. Okay.
Yeah, that's probably your best bet for finding that. So.
Okay, thanks a lot, man.
Okay, I'm going to stop my recording. Thank you guys.